Also, the other thing to let that person know is, listen, I know you may think the factor of, oh, well, if things don't end up working out and everything, get somehow legally enmeshed, uh, I'll just go ahead and just pull myself back. You don't know if the people that were there for you before or are going to be there after. All right? You may not have that safety net or that fallback plan that you thought that you had ultimately because of the fact that you thought, I'm grown, I can make the decision that I want to, regardless of how anybody else feels about it. And in that circumstance, understand something. If you end up going ahead and getting rejected by the village that you rejected, that very well could end up being the consequence. Although in some cases, that village that you ended up rejecting absolutely were the ones in the wrong and ultimately have an inability of being able to relinquish any type of, perceived control, and ultimately believe that what they're doing is automatically going to be right because ultimately they're the one in charge. They're the one who holds the power, and how dare you go ahead and question their position of that power? Well, meantime, it's very much that inability to relinquish control and, just let things unfold the way that they're going to. That could end up going ahead and causing the most collateral damage and unforeseen consequences out of the entire scenario, potentially going ahead and causing economic devastation as well as social damage and, overall complete and total instability for the foreseeable future because of, their control tactics ended up causing them to make a decision, and that inability to be able to relinquish control that ends up going ahead and having a mass impact on numerous different individuals that ultimately had their own personal stability intertangled with them due to the factor of, believing that it was a team effort, for them to end up finding out later on that there is no team. There's just a dictatorship, autocracy that is going to go ahead and be respected by any means necessary, even if that autocrat ends up going ahead and economically attempting to devastate anybody that attempts to flee their oppression. So, understand there are different levels to severity of the situation. Not everyone needs to be assumed to be of the utmost severity. I was just unfortunate enough to be in the circumstance of dealing with utmost severity.